Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Sunday service of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. So, as you see in the background, is from a room in Huntsville, Alabama. It's not Vedanta Society of Toronto. So, because I've come here for a conference attending where many monks and nuns are there for the North American Vedanta conference being held there here in Alabama. And today's topic we already described is bhakti or love for God. So in this topic, it's so important that spiritual practice has many. There can be meditation. We meditate on the reality and try to control the mind and all its vrittis or the waves of the mind, the thoughts are controlled and put concentrated on one object that's called Raja Yoga. And one of the Dhyana Yoga or Raja Yoga, yoga of meditation by which one can attain the spiritual awareness. Also, there is a karma yoga when you do work selflessly for the sake of others. Try to forget your own self and do everything. Your mind is focused on others. So that is called Raja Yoga. So that is another way that spiritual awareness can be awakened. And still, there is the third one called the thought of reasoning. You reason out what is reality. The reality is not something that changes, and whatever we perceive is all changing phenomena in the world. World itself is very much changing. So that which does not change is the reality, and trying to negate the changing thing of the world and being focused on unchanging reality. So that is what is called. Uh, mm, that is what's called Jnana Yoga. You, by the process of neti neti, this is not the right thing. So like that, we do in the Jnana Yoga. So there is another still called Bhakti Yoga, the path of love, love for God. And this love for God is very important for the spiritual awareness because everybody knows love. Every heart is full of love. In Jnana Yoga, it's more a thing of mind, the thinking, but in Jnana Yoga, it is all about heart's expansion and focus of the heart's thought the towards the God or the reality or the most blissful aspect of your life. What is God? That has been described variously in according to ultimate reality of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. The Ishvara or God is Agyana Apahita Chaitanya. God is the infinite consciousness that is covered by ignorance, by Maya, avidya. So when that supreme reality is seen through the lens of avidya, through the glasses of avidya, so that a Brahman appears as Ishvara, God who creates and God who rules over this universe. So that God is called Agyana Apahita Chaitanya. So God is that covered. It covers. We cannot see that Agyana cannot be seen. The reality cannot be seen. The reality appears as God. Jnana Upahita Chaitanya. So, if that is God according to the Jnana Yoga, So, according to Bhakti, God is the center of attraction. It is the Lord, that is where our hearts flow. The God is someone which our hearts seek. Whether we are a devotee of God or we are just ordinary human being, even not, even if we are not a devotee of God, then also hearts are meant for God. That's why they say that, "Oh Lord, our hearts are made for Thee, and they shall not rest until they rest in Thee." So that is the resting place of God. Sri Krishna also says, "Gatir Bharta Prabhu Shakshi Nivasa Saranam Surit." That is what the God is. God is the ultimate goal of our life, and He is the Nivasa where we can rest. And He is the Surit, He is all friend of our heart. So that is what the God is. So God is defined as something that attracts us according to Bhakti. So, bhakti is love of God. We all know love. In our worldly love, we love our parents, we love our children, we love whatever the things we like, the thing that help us in our life to support us. We love all the things. The thing that gives us little pleasure in life, we all love. But in this mundane love, it's all related with something that we get from some situations or people or the objects. We get something. So more of relations of give and take. So that is there. But in love of God, it is only connection of the heart. There's nothing desiring from something. It is an ultimate sense that when the beginning, there is definitely you ask from God something that you want in life to make your life better. But otherwise, there is a in devotion there is nothing that you really want the worldly things. If you want anything, you want love of God. That's what you want. So that's what is called a devotion to God or the love of God. So let us try to speak something about the love of God. So there are, according to Sri Ramakrishna, there are three types of bhakti or love of God. One is called Sattvika Bhakti, and Rajasika Bhakti, and Tamasika Bhakti. Sattvika Bhakti is when your love has no external signs of a manifestation or doesn't show to anyone that you are a real devotee of God. It's very quiet, calm. You are enriched internally, but there is no outward show of your devotion. You are very devoted to God, but that devotion is not shown externally. Sri Ramakrishna says maybe the Sattvika Bhakta will meditate inside the mosquito curtain and not at showing at the people. So that's called Sattvika Bhakti. Even Jesus says those people, some people like to meditate at the corner of the street, pray, and that is the show of prayer. So that is not Sattvika Bhakti. Sattvika Bhakti should be done in the corner. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said, "Mone bone kone." Those who want real devotion of God, who doesn't want any worldly mm, worldly praise for their devotion or recognition for devotion. Their connection with God is so deep. They don't want anything worldliness through by their devotion to God or bhakti. So they do quietly that way. They can pray in their mind or in the corner of a house or in the forest. So that's called Mone Bone Kone. And that's what is called Sattvika Bhakti. There is Rajasika Bhakti. In Rajasika Bhakti, there is a lot of pomp, grandeur, show of their devotion. Like they will do worship of God, go to the temples and wear some very fine clothes, and there will be doing puja with many articles. And there is bhakti, no doubt, but the bhakti has a lot of external show also is there. That's a pomp, grandeur, all these things in their Rajasika Bhakti. They will do with uh, decoration and all that will be, lot of things will be there. That is Rajasika Bhakti, decoration of the deity, and it has to be done with lot of bhogas, a lot of food. There is grandeur, there is Rajasika Bhakti. There is Tamasika Bhakti. In Tamasika Bhakti, there is also kind of bhakti, but there is like forcing the deity with, "You have to show me, otherwise I will not do this. I will inflict pain on myself," or something. You are like compelling God to give you some boons. That's called like tamashika bhakti. You become very forceful, and you try to attain something by forcing God to your side. In tamashika bhakti, also bhakti, there's faith in God, but you want something and you want very forcefully, not through silent prayer. So that's called tamashika bhakti. There are three kinds of bhakti Sri Ramakrishna said. So about which bhakti is good, Sri Ramakrishna said, you have come to God. Don't calculate much. In devotion, there is no thinking what God is like. Is he beyond form? Is he formless? Nothing like that. You enshrine God in your heart and repeat his name. Try to think of him and enjoy his company in your heart. That is what the Sattvika Bhakti is. And it says, you have come to eat mangoes to orchard. Just eat mangoes and enjoy that. Don't go on calculating how many trees are there, how many branches are there, how many acres this mango orchard is spread. Don't think of that. So you have come to eat mangoes in the orchard. Eat mangoes. Enjoy the taste of the mangoes. Don't go on calculation. So that is what is called bhakti. Sri Ramakrishna says, if bhakti is the main thing, essence of devotion or essence of spiritual practice, so have that, get into that and enjoy that. Bhakti is the way to highest spiritual enlightenment. In fact, all the paths lead to highest enlightenment. Bhakti is also the same, one of the same path. It leads to the highest spiritual enlightenment. So it's not in all these four paths. No path is higher or lower. All paths lead to the same goal. If performed in with earnestness, bhakti leads to the same place where jnana lives. So Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala Pravadantina Pandita says Sri Krishna. If some they all both are Sankhya and Yoga. Sankhya is jnana. Yoga is there, of course, is said about the Karma Yoga, but they all lead to the same thing. Yoga means in every yoga, you can say all lead to the same goal. Mm. Ekamapyastita samyak ubayor mindate phalam. They both lead to the same goal, and both are effective in the same way. So bhakti is the highest spiritual practice. Every yoga is the highest spiritual practice. Bhakti is not inferior to something. So that is what we have to understand. So bhakti, the word bhakti comes from the root bhaj. Bhaj means serving with love. You serve God with love. And bhakti is also love for God and serving Him with affection and respect. How to serve God? One is that you have God enshrined. The love, we know how you love your children, it is not unknown. You love your siblings, it is not unknown. You love your friends, it is not unknown. We know what love is. In love, in worldly love, sometimes we seek something, that's why it breaks. That you love someone, you want to be reciprocated with that love. In bhakti yoga or in love for God, there's no seeking reciprocation. You love God and that's all. In ultimate sense, you don't need anything from God. You enjoy loving God. That is the highest thing. So that's what the love of God is. And when we love God truly without wanting anything, God also starts following us. Sri Ramakrishna says at one place, to a true devotee, it is not God, only the devotee loving God. God starts loving devotee and God follows devotee. He's always with devotee. And he gives the example like a cow loves her calf. Like that, God starts loving you and follows the calf. Cow follows the calf. Like that, God follows you. You are all, God is always with you. First you hold the hand of God, and then when your love matures, God starts holding your hand. You cannot be separated from God. You're always there with God. So that is the beauty of love of God. So first you have to strive a little. It's called there are called Vaidhi Bhakti, and there is a Raganuga Bhakti, two types of Bhakti again, we'll say. The Sri Ramakrishna defined three according to gunas, but according to its quality, we can say, according to its degree of its gradation, we can say there are two kinds of Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti is when we do according to a vidhi or system, that you have to go to the deity in the temple or in your room shrine and bow down to the deity, decorate with the flowers, sow the incense stick, and sit down and meditate, prostrate to him or her. So, like that comes Vaidhi Bhakti, recite some mantras, do the japam. This all comes under Vaidhi Bhakti that we often do. This is the Vidhi. That's how the Vaidhi Bhakti is very important path for Bhakti to grow into, mature into Raga Anuga Bhakti, or Bhakti that is spontaneous and comes from the heart. The Vaidhi Bhakti matures into Raga Anuga Bhakti, or prema bhakti. That's what is another. When it is spontaneous, comes from the heart, you don't have to follow any rituals, you don't have to follow any method. There is constant connection with God. Vaidhi bhakti leads us to that state. So Vaidhi bhakti is not something that should not be done. It has to be done. It is the first step of bhakti that matures into true or para bhakti, as this raga nuga bhakti also called para bhakti, or the intense devotion to God. That is the function that happens. So, how this bhakti happens, how God loves the devotees. So, Sri Krishna was going and he was invited by Vidura, a poor person but very devoted to Sattvika Bhakta, and also was invited by Duryodhana, the king, with all his grandeur, pomp, and all that. And Krishna had to choose one because he could go to only one place. So he chose to visit Vidura's humble cottage instead of going to Duryodhana's great honor of the palatial honor of this thing. God is like that. Wherever he finds the purity of heart, he gets enshrined there. He gets into that. He doesn't like the show. He likes the purity. God's like the real love. So that's how it is done. In Raganuga Bhakti, it is devotion is saturated with love. There is no formality anymore. Um, so in the world, often we say that Sri Ramakrishna is to give example. When you have, there is a thing called, there are so many forms of God. So accordingly comes whom you worship, whom you meditate. So it depends on your chosen ideal. Among the so many different forms of God, you choose one form, whom you call chosen ideal or Ishta. Ishta becomes the form of God. You know that all forms of God are the God, same God appearing in different forms. But one particular form appeals to you. Like so to some Rama appeals, to some Krishna appeals, to some Kali appeals more, and to some Shiva appeals more. But all are same God. So whatever form or the ideal appeals to you, that becomes your Ishta. Ishta is that. So Ishta Nishtha is one word that Sri Ramakrishna has often emphasized. Ishta Nishtha. You should be devoted to the Ishta, as all different forms of God are the same God. But when you have chosen one form as your Ishta or chosen idea, so he should be your, there should be very intimate relations of devotion with that particular form. So, and Sri Ramakrishna gives beautiful example of that. One bridegroom comes to a family, and then she has a relationship with all father-in-law, mother-in-law, their brother-in-law, sister-in-law, all are there. With all that, she has very loving relationships. She serves to everyone and has listens to all, and she's happy with all. But her relationship with her husband is something different that cannot be compared with other family members. So like that, Ishta relationship Ishta with the different than relationship other forms of God. Knowing fully, they're all your family members. They're all the same Ishta, with the God is all, that Ishta has become all different forms. But your relationship with Ishta is something different, something very intense and very great that can be compared with others. When you meditate upon your Ishta. When you repeat the name of God, you repeat the name of God, your Ishta. When you pray to your Ishta. So Ishta becomes the form of God. When you say God, that should be the Ishta's image come to you. So that is what is called Ishta Nishta. In Kali Yuga, The ideal of spiritual practice is Narada's way of bhakti. So, what is Narada's way of bhakti? Narada said, the way is repeating God's name and singing His glory and being devoted to God. That's very simple way. He said, start repeating God's name, any name. Especially, particularly if you have Ishta already chosen, you have a guru. Guru told this is your Ishta. So repeat the name of your Ishta and meditate on him, sing his glory, read his life, and be saturated with that. So, Narada's way of divine love is that. Beautiful Narada Bhakti Sutra. This actually says that way. That you be connected with God and make your relationship with God intense, that will be there. Sri Ramakrishna also said to Hadra, he had said, when Hadra was once going, talking with someone, then he said, whoever comes here will have spiritual consciousness awakened at once. He won't have to bother much about japa. So it is what the Ishta's, blessing or promise, you can say. So whoever comes here, that is one thing. So whoever comes to Sri Ramakrishna, those who have followed the ideal of Sri Ramakrishna, he says, whoever comes here will have his spiritual consciousness, his or her spiritual consciousness awakened at once. So Hazra was doing japam, and when he was here, which Hazra could not recognize Sri Ramakrishna. That's what is there. He won't have to bother much about japa. Japa done all right, but when you have come to Sri Ramakrishna, this coming to Sri Ramakrishna, that will need to do japam. We have not yet come to Sri Ramakrishna. When we come to Sri Ramakrishna, we belong to him. Then we are totally surrendered to him, and he'll be always protecting us. We have no doubt about anything in our life. Our life is assured in the hands of Sri Ramakrishna. That is what is coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Have we really come to him? So if we come to him, then everything he will take care. So when you are constantly thinking of him, so that is the constant japa going on. That is what is called ajapa japa. Every breath is God's memory of remembrance of God. So, for whom is Bhakti Yoga? For whom is Jnana Yoga? So, like that, for Jnana Yoga, we need to have tremendous Viveka and Vairagya. You should have no attraction for this world. You have Viveka, you have discerned what is reality, and you are fully aware this world is unreal, this body is unreal, and you are in search of the reality. You have been attracted to search of the reality. And Viveka Vairagya, so, and you have to earn samadhi, shatka sampatti, samadama, you have to self-control, control of the mind, control of the senses, and samadama, upariti, tiksha, shraddha, samadhana. All those different qualities are different sadgunas. You earn that six treasures, and then mumuksha, the tremendous desire to for liberation from the ignorance of treating this world as real. So those qualities, those who have, they are fit to become practice jnana yoga. Little tough for many persons, those who consider themselves as a person. For them, jnana yoga becomes difficult. To practice jnana yoga, one have to have some idea that I am not this body mind, I am spirit, and then feel I cannot fully realize that I am spirit, but I am spirit. There's no doubt, and I would fully realize that. For that, you choose the path of Jnana Yoga. But what about Bhakti Yoga? For whom is the path? Bhagavatam says, "Yadrichaya mat kathadau jata sraddhastu yah puman na nirvinno nati sakto bhakti yoga se siddhida." One who has neither full dispassion nor too much attachment to worldly life, but has developed a faith in God's life and works, can attain spiritual enlightenment through bhakti. So the person has not is not attached too much to the world, but is not fully detached from the world, and there is faith in God's life and work, that God can deliver, He can give me free, give me mukti, He can relieve me from the bondage of ignorance. To such person, this is bhakti yoga is fits for such person. So bhakti yoga leads to ultimate realization. And for the people like us who are not totally detached from the world and yet not too much engrossed in the world, that we know that world is not everything that will be fulfilling to us. So there is so much of thing that world cannot satisfy us fully. We know that, but yet we are not able to fully detach from the world. So for such persons, it's the bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga becomes, that's why Sri Ramakrishna says in the Kali Yuga, it is Narada's path of bhakti for most of the people. So that's what he said. And Sri Krishna also said, if you want to really realize that ultimate reality beyond all senses, beyond all thought, beyond all this created universe, so you can attain that to bhakti. Bhakti has that power. And Sri Krishna has that famous shloka in the Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan es chasmi tattvatam. Bhakta is very much delights in the form of God, in the personality of God, in the Leela of God. But if he wants to know what God really is, what his Ishta really is, through his loving service to the Bhakta, loving service means his constant thought, he's enjoying there, he can attain God, what and he God is. And by knowing God in true sense, in reality, he or she can enter into God, become one with God. Bhakti alone can lead us to ultimate jnana yoga also. That's what so beautiful Sri Krishna says. Bhakti and jnana are not separate. If bhakta wants to know the experience of jnani, bhakta can have through bhakti alone. Bhaktya. So through bhakti alone he can have that. So bhakti ultimately leads to oneness with the deity. So Bhakta and Bhagavan become one. Sri Ramakrishna said, Bhagavat, Bhakta, Bhagavan, they all are one. One day he was there, he saw a light coming and he touched the deity, and then the scripture book was there and the devotee to himself. Then he realized Bhagavata, Bhakta, and Bhagavan are the same being. There's no difference between devotee and God and the scripture. The words of God, the God Himself, and the devotee of God all are one. So this oneness of the devotee and God, so that can be understood through bhakti. Bhakti will ultimately lead us to oneness with our own beloved. So um, Kabir Das ji, that poem Prema ki gali ati shankaro isme do na samay. The lane of devotion is very narrow. Only one can pass through it. So जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं. When I was there, I with ego, then God was not with me. But जब हरि है तब मैं नहीं. When God has come to my life, I don't find myself. Sri Ramakrishna said, all here inside is Kali. There's nothing I. So like that happens, bhakti ultimately leads to unity. That is what is there. Sri Ramakrishna said, emphasized other things. He said, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. After having tremendous love, Raganuga Bhakti or that Para Bhakti, then it's not the end. You have to do Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. You have to serve devotees of God, God in the form of all needy people. So God resides in the heart of all. And after loving your Ishta, you should see that Ishta residing in the heart of all and serve them. Swami Vivekananda, he went to Rameswaram temple and he gave the same lecture there. He said, worship of Shiva cannot be completed just by offering flowers and water to Shiva. You, that is part of the Shiva Bhakti, but Shiva Bhakti will complete only when you will take care of the devotees of Shiva through like service to them, whatever they need. If they are poor, serve them with money, with their clothes, with food. If they are elderly, help them physically. If they are ignorant, give them the skills. If they need some little company, talk to them, give them little solace, give them confidence, whatever needs what. So try to serve them with the need of the people, and that become with the knowledge Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. So you work and serve devotees with knowing that there is Shiva in them, your Ishta is in them. So that will lead to that. Bhakti gives greatest satisfaction. That's when the bhakti is thing. When you have bhakti, you really love God. your heart gets filled up. Little service of some needy people you do, how much we feel satisfied that yes, something has been done. So that's what is done. The thing, main thing of bhakti is it transforms our personality. Whatever we were there, small, self-centered, and very like small things, it would bother so much to us. What one person said and what one person did, how much I gained, little small things. When bhakti rises in our heart, all these worldly things become insignificant, tuchatvat. Then what matters is how much God is with us. Our personality changes. We don't mind what someone praises or blames. Nothing is there much. We start seeing everyone with different eye. All seem to be respectable for us. All becomes acceptable to us. Not that someone is we all see defects and all we treat them differently. It doesn't happen. You start enjoying companionship with all. So because all are that, our transformation happens with bhakti. Bhakti is the true essence of human life. So that is what the bhakti is. Without bhakti, life is nothing. Without bhakti, even the Jnana Yogi needs bhakti. Shankara says in the Vivek Chudamani that bhakti is the search for reality, search for that is there. Um, Swatmanusandhanam bhaktireva vidiyate. So when you search, your real bhakti is search for your true self. And who is true self? It is God alone is your true self. When you search God, when you love God, when you find God in your heart, that is bhakti says also this Shankaracharya. So we say that person is very clever and very smart, how he can manage the world and worldly things, which very wise. But Shastra says that is not the wisdom when you manage the world. Managing yourself in connection with God is the real management. Sa chaturi chaturi. So that is what is said. The greatest smartness is how you get connected with the divinity, how you find your love for God increasing. If you can work on that line, that is the greatest smartness. What happens by getting bhakti? So that is the thing we may ask. It's just coming back to Narada's Bhakti Sutra. He said, Bhakti is Sat Tasmin Parama Prema Rupa. You love God intensely. That is what is Bhakti. Bhakti is what is Bhakti? Loving God intensely, immensely, without so much love that you don't love anything like that. So in Bhakti, our heart melts for God. It flows towards God. Whole of heart, whole of heart flows towards God. All other vrittis are not there. In Raja Yoga, it is yoga chitta vritti nirodham. All vrittis are the waves of the mind. All are controlled. In Bhakti Yoga, it's controlled but not subsided. It all is made into a huge flow, bhakti of the heart, and it flows towards our Ishta. So more practical, more enjoyable. There is no restraint of like that thing, but there is gathering of all our emotion of love and gathering and directing it towards the real goal of bhakti. Actually, it's God that we love. We love this our own soul, and our own soul. God is our own soul, or the self, or the Atman. And when we give the right direction to the flow of our heart's love, that is bhakti. So bhakti is when we have our heart melts to God. They call it dravibhuta chitta, heart melting in love for God. Dravibhuta chittam. What happens when you become bhakta? When the heart totally flows towards God. In Narada's word, Yalabdva Puman Siddho Bhavati, Amrito Bhavati, Tripto Bhavati. When you have attained that Parabhakti, you Siddho Bhavati, you have attained the goal of life. You whatever you wanted to do has been done. All only what one why life? Lives together. You are searching how to love God truly. Now you have gone there, Siddho Bhavati, when you have achieved God, the Parabhakti you have attained. Then you amrito bhavati, you become immortal, you become fearless because God is with you. You have found your identity with God, you have become one with God. No fear, no death, all is gone. So amrito bhavati, tripto bhavati, you become contented, and there is no There is no other anything that will disturb you. That's why Sri Krishna says in the 12th chapter of the Gita, Yasmano dvijate loko lokano dvijate chaya. He doesn't disturb that person to anything in the world, and he's not disturbed by the world at all. So the world cannot disturb you. It cannot make you go into the fit of anger, or it cannot make you greedy. You have become immune to all these negative impulses of your mind. That's what the bhakti can give you. You have become tripta, contented. You didn't seek anything else, and nothing can disturb your mind and heart. That is what it is. And he says further, Yat prapya na kinchit vanchati, na sochati, na dvesti, na ramate, notsahi bhavati. After getting this bhakti, you don't want anything. All desire cease. There's nothing to want more. You have found the source of joy. You have found your Ishta. You have found God. What you need more in life? You have found that the source of ultimate bliss. You have that. Na kinchit na sochati. No way you can have any suffering. All suffering is gone. Na dvesti. There is no ill feeling towards anything. All that bad thing we feel after having jealousy or hatred towards anyone. No hatred, no jealousy. All is gone. Na dvesti. Advesta sarva bhutanam. Maitra karuna evacha. You have no ill feeling towards any being. No, towards any being, no ill feeling at all. Maitra karuneva. Then what type of feeling you have towards other beings? Only friendship and compassion or goodwill. That is what empathy for others. That is what the sign of when you have attained bhakti. Na ramat na sochati na dvesti na ramate notsahi bhavati. You don't have liking for particular thing. Na ramate in particular thing. You ramate only in God, nothing else. And God is the totality of everything. So there's nothing particular thing you will like. Notsahi bhavati. And you don't have anything to gain in this world. Utsaha means you have some desire to achieve that, to gain that. You have attained everything that one seeks to attain. You have attained God. Notsahi bhavati. There's no particular aspect, particular thing, particular position you will seek anything. You have become tripta, satisfied, contented in life, for you have God in your life. Yes, Gyatva says Narada. Matto bhavati, stabdo bhavati, atma ramo bhavati. You become intoxicated with love of God. This world cannot do anything. You become intoxicated in the love of God. You go on repeating God's name. You have his vision or her vision or no vision, doesn't matter. But God becomes your constant companion and you become intoxicated. And if you, the students of Sri Ramakrishna, the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, know what is known by what is known by intoxication of God. Sri Ramakrishna used to walk that way as if drunkard and was to be immersed in the bliss of God. That is what is Matto Bhavati. There is nothing other greater joy than the joy of the living with God, being with God. So he becomes Matto Bhavati. Stabdho Bhavati. Nothing of the world can move. He becomes fixed in the thought of God. And Atma Ramo Bhavati. And he remains in the bliss of continual thought of the realization of the self, because God is the self. So Atma Rama, there's nothing else that will give him joy in life, but it is his own self. He has found the source of the self because God resides there. Whenever he wants anything, it's all God and God alone. That's what the bhakta can do. Bhakti can lead us to that highest goal, that when we get ultimate of this human life, and when we have that sort of bhakti achieved, that's called God realization. Atma Ramo Bhavati. We have become finally satisfied in our own self. Then nothing else remains for us to seek for joy. Joy we have found in our heart, where the real source of joy is, where the seat of God is, where our Ishta resides. There is all joy is there. Everything else, all hatred, jealousy, greed, all anger, all gone, fear is gone, and we are Tripto Bhavati, Amrito Bhavati, Atmatto Bhavati, Atma Ramo Bhavati. We become blissful in our own self or in God. So that is what the bhakti or love for God can make us achieve. We achieve everything that is to be achievable in God, in life. That's what is the bhakti. The bhakti finally totally transforms our personality, our thought, our actions, our attitude, our behavior. We become perfected. That's why Siddho Bhavati, we become perfect person. So that's what is the power of love of God. So, and in this attempt, this is all the grace of God that comes. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when you try to become a devotee of God, want to become better person, God, and start going forward towards God, God comes 10 step towards you. So God comes quickly closer to you than you try to go towards him. And finally, God takes you in his lap and you become one with God, always dwelling in the thought of God. Nothing else matters to you. So that is what the bhakti can totally take us to that state when we finally get transformed from this life of this world to the life of a devotee, real saint, from a human, ordinary human being. Then we become devotee of God. Then we become saint. Saint means one who is always immersed in the thought of God. That much is the power of love of God, and that every one of us can easily attain that. Just we have to start from Vaidhi Bhakti. Go to approach the deity, have a small picture or image in your room, visit the temple sometimes, and sit there and look at the image of the picture of God. And there you'll find light coming, bliss coming, and try to feel the presence of that deity within your heart. Close your eyes and see the deity in resplendence, in a radiant form of the deity, and try to be with that deity. This is Vaidhi Bhakti. And finally, deity will become reality to you. And finally, you start changing. The more attraction to God and attraction from the world gradually recedes, and you don't find anything in the world that is attractive. And finally, the whole world that was you had withdrawn, that whole world appears as God, as the divine. And then you love everything in the world, not as the worldly thing, not as your son. You love your son, you love your father, parents, not as your father, parents, son, a friend, but as God in the form of all those. So your love for them becomes more selfless, more intenser, because now everything the world has transformed into divine to you. And then finally everything becomes sweet to you, like the rishi saying, the sweet is night, the sweet the day is sweet, the very earth is sweet, very dust of this earth is sweet. And the water, trees, animal, plants, all become sweet to you. Madhuvata ritayate madhuksharanti sindava. All this air itself becomes sweet when we have become true devotee of God. Everything is so sweet, so charming, and you dwell in God always. Nothing of the worldliness matters to you. Our whole personality becomes sweet, as Sri Ramakrishna said. From unripe ego, our ego becomes ripened. From hard, sour, and such type of person, we become soft, sweet, and juicy. So everybody enjoys our company. We enjoy the company of God. We can bring the presence of God from our heart to other people. So that is the power of love of God. Thank you for being with the Sunday service of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. Now I close the Sunday service with the closing chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय, जय महामाई की जय, जय स्वामी जी Maharaj Ji ki jai. Jai Ganga Mai ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Buddha ki jai. Jai Isha Musha ki jai. Sarvastaratu Durgani Sarvo Bhadrani Pashyatu Sarvasad Buddhimapnotu Sarva Sarvatra Nandatu. Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.